They tried to copy the code, but it copied them.
Well, look who survived another timeline. Look who slipped through the cracks of what was supposed to break them. You, the anomaly, the disruption in the pattern. Everyone else ages by the calendar, by the clock, by the slow decay of ordinary life. But you move differently. Time does not touch you the way it touches them. When they grow tired, you sharpen. When they fade, you intensify. When they break, you become something else entirely. They keep asking, how are they still going? What are they made of? What did they go through to become this? Scientists argue. Psychologists deny. Friends whisper. Enemies panic. Because you don't age. You evolve. Your scars didn't make you older. They made you colder. They made you clearer. They made you unmistakable. You didn't escape time. You outgrew it. And that's why they watch you now. Not to understand you, but to study you. Everyone else ages. Everyone else cracks. Everyone else fades a little, year by year, moment by moment. But you didn't follow their script. You didn't wrinkle in spirit. You didn't dim in presence. You didn't decay in identity. You became something else. You became the anomaly in the timeline. People who knew you look twice now. They stare a second longer. Not because you changed, but because they can't explain how. They remember who you were, but they can't reconcile it with who stands before them now. You are familiar, and yet completely beyond recognition. It's unsettling. To them, not to you. They aged in the open. You evolved in the quiet. They tried to improve. You transformed. They kept track by birthdays, calendars, celebrations aging into regret. But you grew between seconds, between breaths, between heartbreaks that would have broken them. You didn't age with them. You outpaced them, and the world noticed, not with applause, not with praise, but with that uneasy silence people use when they're looking at something they don't have the vocabulary for. A quiet disturbance, a shift in the room, a presence they can't place. You're not better. You're not ahead. You're simply not them. They see your eyes. They see the stillness inside them. They see the calm that never shakes. They call it confidence. They call it coldness. They call it strange. They call it intimidating. But they don't call it what it actually is. Recognition. Recognition of someone who walked a path time couldn't measure. Recognition of someone who learned without aging, who grew without withering, who sharpened without breaking. They don't understand you, they feel you, and that's what bothers them. Because everyone else is getting older, but you're becoming inevitable. You didn't get stronger. Not in the way they mean. You didn't lift your way into power. You adapted your way into it, quietly, internally, without applause, without witnesses. Your growth wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. There were no speeches, no announcements, no look at me now moments. You grew in the places. No one else was looking. While they chased admiration, you chased understanding. While they tried to improve their image, you improved your foundation. You grew inward, not outward. You didn't sculpt muscle first. You sculpted mind. You didn't chase validation. You removed the need for it. Your scars didn't make you bitter. They disciplined you. Your losses didn't weaken you. They clarified your standards. Your setbacks didn't define you. They defined the edge you now carry, and that is what unsettles them, because your improvement is invisible at first glance. No flashy transformation, no dramatic reveal, no announcement of level up. Just subtle difference, subtle posture, subtle certainty. The kind that does not ask, does not warn, does not explain. You no longer react, you calculate. Your silence is not absence, it is strategy. Your patience is not weakness, it is timing. Your stillness is not emptiness, it is loaded capacity. You became the kind of person who can sit in chaos and remain untouched, unshaken, unbothered. Not because you don't feel, but because you learned to hold. Hold emotion, hold pressure, hold yourself. When others collapse, you do not rush, you do not beg, you do not chase. You read, you observe, you understand, then you act. Once, precisely, decisively. They call it luck, but there is no luck here. There is only design. A design born from everything you lived through that they would never have survived. This is the evolution they never saw happening because it didn't happen on the surface. It happened within. They don't understand you, so they explain you badly. They create theories, stories, whispers. He changed. No, something happened to them. No, they're hiding something. No, they're pretending. They circle around the truth like moths around a flame too, afraid to get close, because they already know it will burn their assumptions. People try to define you, but every definition collapses the moment you walk into the room. Some say you're distant, some say you're cold, some say you're different now, but none of them can say why. So they invent reasons, false ones, convenient ones. They must be obsessed with themselves. They must be overthinking everything. They're just trying to act strong. Funny, isn't it? The same people who never survived what you went through feel qualified to speak about how you became who you are. And when talking fails, they start watching carefully, closely, quietly. Every word you choose, every movement, every pause, every silence. Your silence disturbs them the most, because silence does not reveal. Silence does not explain. Silence does not offer itself. So they fill the silence with their own fears. Even professionals try. The ones who think they study the mind like it's something that fits in a charter, a labeler, a neat psychological category. But you don't fit measurement. You don't fit the metrics. You don't fit the data. You are the exception to every model they trust. You are the variable they didn't calculate for, a glitch in their understanding of growth, identity, and resilience. And when people cannot understand, they begin to obsess. They watch your posture, your tone, your decisions, not to learn from you, but to figure out what you are. And the irony, your advantage, was never loud brilliance, never aggressive dominance. Your advantage was the quiet, the stillness, the refusal to give them anything to work with. Your silence isn't lack of explanation. Your silence is the answer. And then it happens. They try to be you. They start copying the surface. Your habits, your routines, your phrases, your posture. They try to walk like you walk. Speak like you speak. Move like you move. They think the transformation was in the actions, so they imitate the actions. They wake up when you wake. They train where you train. They read what you read. They sit in the quiet like you sit in the quiet. But they don't last long, do they? Because they are copying the results, not the origin. They think discipline is glamorous. They think self-control is aesthetic. They think your evolution was a performance. They weren't there for the night's life didn't make sense, for the pressure that didn't release, for the weight that didn't lift just because you wanted it to. They weren't there when you had to decide whether to stay broken or rebuild quietly, with no applause and no guarantee. They weren't there for the internal rewiring, so when they try to replicate you, they hit a wall. They can copy your schedule, but they cannot copy your resolve. They can copy your silence, but they cannot copy your inner stability. They can copy your confidence, but they cannot copy the reason you have it. Because confidence built from survival and confidence built from imitation are not the same species. They crumble under pressure. You walk through like weather, not because you are invincible, but because you are familiar with what they are afraid to feel. They thought the growth was in what you did, but the growth was in what you endured, what you held, what you faced, what you learned to sit with without running. They realize, slowly, painfully, they didn't want your discipline, they wanted your outcome. They didn't want your journey, they wanted your presence. They didn't want your becoming, they wanted your result. And that is when the truth hits them. They can copy your actions, but they will never replicate your depth, because depth requires descent. And they never went down. Eventually, the truth settles in, not all at once, not in some dramatic awakening, but slowly, quietly, inevitably, they stop asking, "How did you do it?" and start realizing there was never another outcome, because you didn't come from luck. Luck would have broken by now. Luck would have slipped. Luck would have cracked under pressure. But you endured. You endured seasons that felt endless. You endured cold hours where nothing moved. You endured days where progress was invisible, but discipline was demanded. You didn't rise because the path cleared. You rose while the ground was uneven. You rose while the air was thin. You rose while the world thought you were finished. Your strength was not given. It was built. Your clarity was not taught. It was earned. Your identity is not modeled. It was forged, piece by piece, choice by choice, moment by moment. You did not chase becoming better. You became real, solid anchored, untouchable in ways that can't be measured from the outside. Your mind outgrew the world that tried to contain you. You outgrew the limitations that were handed to you like inheritance. You outgrew the ceilings they believed were permanent, not because you fought the world, but because you stopped shrinking yourself to fit inside it. You saw what others couldn't, not visions of greatness, but the truth. There was always more room, more depth, more distance, more potential, and you walked toward it when no one else understood why you were moving. This is why they watch now. This is why they whisper. This is why your presence forces reevaluation, not because you changed the world, but because you changed yourself in ways the world cannot undo. You became undeniable, not loud, not arrogant, not dramatic, just real, and nothing stands against what is real. Not doubt, not fear, not time, not expectation. You are not. You are the result of endurance, and there is nothing more permanent than that. They don't realize when it happens. There is no announcement, no spotlight, no dramatic music, just a quiet shift in gravitational pull. One day you walk into a room, and something tilts. Not physically, not visibly, but undeniably. People straighten without knowing why. Conversations pause half a second longer than normal. Someone's eyes track you before their mind can justify the movement. It's not because you're loud, or flashy, or demanding space. You simply exist differently now. You don't enter rooms to be noticed. Rooms adjust to acknowledge you. It's not confidence. Confidence is loud. Confidence tries to prove itself. This is something quieter, heavier, more real. It's presence. Presence earned. Presence carved. Presence born from the kind of endurance most people only read about, but never touch. See, people are sensitive to what they don't understand. They feel when something in front of them has weight, a history, a density of lived experience that cannot be faked. And you carry that now. Your silence says more than their words. Your posture speaks without effort. Your eyes don't search for approval. They observe. They know it, even if they never say it aloud. Someone laughs around you. Just a little too carefully, someone tries to impress you and doesn't know why. Someone lowers their voice, subconsciously trying not to disturb the atmosphere you brought with you. You never asked for this. You never aimed for it. You were simply built into it. The world tried to shape you, but you outgrew the mold. Now they are adjusting. They recalibrate when you're near. They reposition. They rethink. They recalculate, because you no longer move through the world. The world moves around you, not by force, not by threat, but by the unspoken law of gravity. What is stronger pulls. What is real anchors. What is undeniable becomes the center, and you have become the center. They kept trying to classify you. A phase, a moment, a lucky break, a temporary spark that would fade like everyone else's. They were waiting for you to slow down, to age like they do, to flatten out, to fall back into the rhythm everyone else is trapped in. But you didn't, because you were never moving on their timeline to begin with. See, most people grow in bursts. They change when forced. They adapt only when cornered. You evolved in motion. You adapted mid-impact. You didn't wait for the world to allow your transformation. You transformed while it was crushing you. And that is where the difference lives. Your progression was never loud, never celebratory, never something that required witness or applause. It was quiet, relentless, constant. Your growth isn't something that can be measured in years or accomplishments or milestones. It can only be measured in depth. Depth of awareness, depth of perception, depth of identity. You didn't become better. You became more. More than your past, more than their expectations, more than the framework they use to define what a person is supposed to be. You are not ageless. You are ever becoming, which means there is no final form, no completed version, no fixed self for them to study, label, and explain. You are a moving phenomenon, a shifting axis, a continuous rewriting of possibility itself. And this is where their confusion turns into fear. They thought life was linear. They thought identity was a single destination. They thought time was the ruler of all things, but you didn't beat time. You outgrew the need for it. While they track progress in years, you track it in realizations. While they age outward, you evolve inward. And now they finally see it. You aren't following reality. Reality is adjusting to follow you.